In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is being broadcast at a later date over the Lunenburg Public Access Channel. There is a Zoom link and a meeting ID on the agenda. This meeting will be broadcast at a later date through the local cable access channel and on the public access Facebook page with the URL in the agenda, and will be found on the Lunenburg Access YouTube channel within 24 hours of the meeting. The agenda lists all of the topics which may be discussed at the meeting and are those reasonably anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken as a result of those discussions. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by the open meeting law. So the first thing that we do after call to order is Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. First thing we're going to do after that is public comment on prior stuff.
Can I just say one thing? My son is playing baseball, so if anyone is watching me and I'm looking down at my phone, it's because I'm watching his game. So I don't want anyone online to think I'm not paying attention, but he does have a baseball game I'm missing.
I'd like to make a public comment.
Always welcome.
Do I just take it right from here?
Oh,
You can go to the microphone.
You know how it goes.
Oh, I forget. So my name is Jane Hall, and I've been a resident of Lunenburg for 47 years. Not quite an old timer yet, only an age. But I want to say to all of you how much I appreciate all of the work that you have done on the override, the school committee, our administration, all of you, the teachers, everybody. I'm sorry that it failed, truly am. One of our town members at the town meeting brought up a little bit of history from overrides in years gone by. And my children went through those years. So they're in their late 30s, middle to late 40s, and they all suffered through overrides because their mother was usually either the chair or the co-chair of the override committees. So, and some we won, and some we lost, as you have experienced. But what I wanted to just share, if you will, is that we will get through this. As you know, we will. The losses are deep, there's no question. But I've heard that there'll be a call for volunteers, for people to come in and help in the lower grades with reading, and I think that's wonderful. The more public awareness we can bring to all age groups, the better. It is not the solution, believe me. I don't think that's the solution to the problem, but I think having support in the schools from community members who, with some training would be really wonderful. It can help in many ways, just even with helping the students, but also to see what goes on in the schools. So I applaud that, and I will be one of them for sure. I can't say enough. We will get through this. Our kids will be okay, and they will all go on and be successful upper grade level students, if you will, and colleges. And I look at my children, and as hard as those struggles were, and they were difficult, some years really difficult, they all did okay. So again, thank you for all of the work that you've done and that you will continue to do. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Fortuna, for all of your work. And your beautiful letter that went out after. I don't think I've ever seen that before. So that was very special. Thank you.
We have Chris Sullivan online.
Sure.
Go ahead, Mr. Sullivan.
Oh, thank you. I didn't hear my name, sorry. Chris Sullivan, Millway Island Street. What was just stated is far more eloquent than I was probably going to say, but I did want to say thank you for all your efforts and those on the tri-board. I know, regardless of opinion, there was a lot of work went into the whole entire budget season, and I'm grateful for all the effort and the extra time and the missing of kids things and sporting events and all of the things that went into the whole budget season for you all, and I really just want to extend appreciation to each of you for all of that. Second, and I was touching on briefly, I think if not the last meeting just prior, the fifth grade bus release. I was that family that was doing this 7 years ago with 2 other moms. We collected data from 20-something schools, I think, at the time, and ran a survey with parents and the whole scenario. Unfortunately, our efforts did not prevail at the time. My son was in the 4th grade at the moment, and the logic there was that my daughter, to get him off the bus, my daughter would have to leave her events at middle school to come home and get her brother off the bus. And it just logically just didn't make sense with what parents have going on in school to get kids off the bus during the day. The odd part, most to me, was the fact that I could have signed my 4th grader out as a walker, and he could have walked home, but he couldn't get off the bus himself. So there was a lot of interesting logic there. I'm hoping that common sense prevails tonight as you take on that article or take on that issue again this evening. But yeah, it was myself and 2 other moms 7 years ago that tackled on this very thing with 4th and 5th graders back then. And the same exact things were mentioned the last meeting were the same exact things that we discussed that years.
Thanks, Chris.
Is there anyone else? No. All right, I think the next thing on the agenda is chair's report. So normally I skip this because I don't want to chat. But tonight I want to say 2 things. So the first thing is, and I know that this got sent out to staff, but I wanted to reiterate it here tonight. The outcome of the override vote was disappointing, but not unexpected. We knew and stated on public record as early as September of 2025 that the override effort was always going to be a true battle. The combination of the surplus and the general difficulty of selling an override means that this time was, from the very beginning, a hard sell. As the chair of school committee, I am committed to making sure an override passes as soon as possible. The next time, we will have the advantage of the lessons from this failure. In particular, we will make sure that the financial house is in order and has been for a substantial period of time. We are well on our way to meeting this mark. Second, we will only ask for what we actually need, which is what we did this time around in the Tier 1 budget. Third, we will ask for an override on our own this time to make sure that we can better control the message. And 4, we will have a clearer set of options for voters. This time around, the group in town requesting the override had too many unforced errors. We made critical mistakes at points, and when we ask again, we will do it on our own, and we will be significantly more clear and disciplined, both in our presentations to the people of the town and our ask of the voters. The school committee has not given up. We know what is at stake, and we will continue to fight for the future of the children of Lunenburg. The result of the vote was a delay, not a defeat. America fought for 8 years, 4 months, and 15 days to obtain its independence from Great Britain. We owe it to our children to fight for at least 1 more year. The second thing that I want to do is I want to do something that I've never done as chair, and I don't know if anybody else has done, but I wanted to give a commendation to one person. Everybody here has worked really hard this year. Every teacher here, every member of the staff, all of the administration, they have worked incredibly hard. And so a commendation for one person seems somewhat unfair, but in this case, I think it is deserved. So, I wanted to point out the work that Shanina Burns has done, and I want to say this. This year, Ms. Burns didn't do just the basics, showing up, spending money as authorized, making sure that logistics associated with the job were taken care of daily. She made huge strides in keeping kids on the field and teams competitive. She was at literally every sports event I attended this year, whether it was a football game in the fall, a random basketball game in the dead of winter, or spring track. She was working, helping, and leading, not with a bullhorn or quote-unquote supervision, but with roll-up-her-sleeves hustle. I told her when she came before the school committee about the budget this year, and it remains true today, that Ms. Burns' hallmark is excellence. Everything she did this year, she did with grace, insight, and skill. Her decision to remain on as the AD is a huge boon for both the kids of the town, the kids of Lunenburg, and the town itself. It is critical as we approach the severe austerity measures imposed because of the failure of the override that we make sure to recognize and deploy Ms. Burns. The future is uncertain, but we should always bet on people like her. For all of these reasons, I want to highlight Ms. Burns as the person that aided the district most in 2025-2026 school year from the perspective of the chair of school committee. And then the last thing, I just have two things, but the last thing I want to say is this. I'm not going to be chair anymore. It is too much work. It is very difficult. I also think that it's important that we have new ideas. And so when she gets here, my plan is to nominate Laura to be the chair of the school committee. I think she will do an excellent job. She has different strengths than I do, and I think that she will do things her way, and that way will go very well. The one thing that I think that we need to do, and this goes for us and all of the other committees in town, is that we need to make sure that we have clear, brief meetings. I tried, I failed, it didn't work, but the reality is, it is abundantly obvious that people in town do not understand what is at stake. And I think that is in large part because our meetings are too long. No one has time, except for the people that volunteer and the people that are paid to come here, to spend 3 hours every other week on a school committee meeting. And then when you add in the time for FinCon and the time for select board, it's just impossible to keep up to date. I think the fact that we still had people that didn't understand how the surplus worked and people that didn't understand the needs the school district faced when they were in the voting booth tells me our meetings are too long and we do not communicate clearly. I think that in part this is because the open meeting law is a ridiculous bundle of garbage that the state has imposed upon us, and it makes any volunteering difficult. But when you add to the quagmire that the open meeting law caused, 3-hour meetings twice a month, no one understands what's going on and no one can pay attention that much. And so I really hope that next year our meetings are an hour. We can do this in an hour. We can get everything by report. It doesn't need to be a presentation, and we can do what we do when we look at the warrants or line item transfers. Like, I think that, for example, Dr. Sarpi's presentations on grants are so well organized and so meticulous. She even writes out what we need to say in the motion, that her reports would be sufficient, and we do not need to have her come every time. If she wants to come, you're welcome. But I think that it's a giant waste of time to have all of these presentations and have it make meetings so long that no one can pay attention. We need to be shorter. It is our enemy to not be shorter. We've got to get rid of them. So, I want to say that the override stinks, and that we will try again. That Ms. Burns made a lot of financial decisions and a lot of restructuring much easier by being willing to stay on as the athletic director. And I want to make sure that we are all committed to having clear, concise meetings.
Tony, we did improve this year. I know that you, I really do think we improved.
I agree.
Oh.
I mean, I used to watch
I
these
watched
meetings
a lot of meetings.
before I joined the school committee, and
Yeah.
I know you don't want us to talk too much, but
It's not super quick, but it's way better
it's
than it has been
way,
in the
way
past.
better.
You guys, at least the last couple of years, were like cutting off meetings at the end because the lights would turn off and the doors would lock.
Yes.
Yeah, it
And
was-
so it was like, all right, we gotta like wrap this up, we'll move these things to next week. That hasn't happened yet this year that I know of.
No. We've done much, much better. So cheers to you for that. I mean, the 3 minutes, it's not 3 minutes,
Yeah.
but.
It's never gonna be 3 minutes.
All right, the next thing we have is the student representative report.
So district-wide, there is no school on May 25th, and June 6th, there is a bake and book sale at the library. That was in every principal's meeting, or list, so I think that's probably important. At the primary school, June 11th is their field day. At Turkey Hill, June 9th is their field day. And then at the middle high school, there's a lot going on. So bear with me here. There's a jazz band concert next Wednesday, a concert band and chorus concert next Thursday, possibly a Midsummer Night's Dream tomorrow and Friday. Don't totally know. The eighth grade graduation is June 18th. The high school graduation for seniors is June 6th. And this Friday is the Honors and AP Art Thesis show.
Do we know, has Puck stolen the lighting? Is that why there's no Midsummer Night's Dream? Has Titania got mad?
Kind of. Well, so I'm Titania. I was not
Oh.
mad. I don't think though that this should be discussed. But
All
it was
right.
on my.
Never mind,
It was
we're
on my
good.
list earlier. It might not be on my list anymore.
Okay,
Don't
sounds
know.
good. We'll let Titania deliberate with Oberon elsewhere. All right, the next thing is, there's a superintendent, I think we should say something.
I have a report,
Okay.
absolutely.
Do we have to do minutes first and line item transfers?
Yeah, sure.
No, of course not.
Review and approve minutes is March 23rd, 2026. I'd look for a motion to,
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of March 23rd, 2026.
I was not there. Can I still second?
I don't think so. I will
You
second.
All
Okay.
those in
All
favor?
Yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
And an aye for myself.
You gotta
Motion
do-
passed.
You gotta do a roll call because I'm not here.
Oh, dang it, all right. Emily, how
Sorry.
do you vote?
No, absent.
Abstain.
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 Mandy, how do you vote?
Yay.
Laura,
Yes.
how do you vote?
Yes.
And a yes for myself. It passes. All right. Review and approve line item transfers, warrants, and donations.
No line item transfers this weekend. This week, you have the warrants, and for donations, we have several scholarships that are in your folder for this week. Some are okay to disperse to the students, and others are us accepting the awards for them.
Are these disbursements ones that the students don't know they're getting them?
I am not sure on
So-
some of these, so
so we
that's why
shouldn't-
I'm,
yeah,
that's why I'm
so
not
we
saying
shouldn't
them.
Do not say names.
Yes, okay.
Oh, geez, please.
Yes, because these students are getting these awards on
Correct.
awards
I think
dinner.
the senior award show's tomorrow morning, so no spoilers.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Can we do this as a group?
Yeah, let's do that as a group. Has everyone had a chance to review the scholarships?
Yes.
Okay. And does anyone have any questions or comments about the scholarships, so long as they don't reveal names?
No.
All right. In which case, I would look for a motion to accept the scholarships with gratitude without naming names. So weird.
I'll second the motion.
All right.
We have to do by person.
Yeah. Emily, how do you vote? Mandy, how do you vote?
Yay.
Laura, how do you vote?
Yay.
All right, and a yes for myself, that passes.
Okay, I'm logging off now.
All right.
It's easier for you guys.
Enjoy.
I'll be there when I get there. Bye.
Enjoy. Okay, superintendent's report is next.
Before I dive into the formal updates of my student superintendent's report this evening, I want to take a point of personal privilege to share a few words about our chair, Tony. As we reflect on the work of the past year, I want to take a moment to express my deepest gratitude for your leadership, your mentorship, and your unwavering support. I know you aren't going anywhere, and for that I'm incredibly thankful, but I didn't want this milestone of a year to pass without acknowledging the profound impact you've had on my growth as a superintendent. It is no secret to anyone here that we talk a lot, but what I value most about our countless conversations is the way you communicate. No matter how challenging the issues we are facing might be, your words always manage to uplift me. Through your unique blend of wisdom and humor, you have taught me how to cut through the noise and sift the essential from the trivial. You have an incredible gift for helping me step back, find clarity, and zero in our focus on exactly what this district needs the most. Every time we speak, I walk away feeling anchored, inspired, and ready to lead. More than anything else, though, it is the heart behind your leadership that resonates with me. In every single discussion we have, your genuine, unwavering care for each and every child in this district is abundantly clear. That student-centered focus is matched only by the profound respect you hold for the people doing the work. You never miss an opportunity to champion our educators, our staff, and the daily efforts happening inside our schools. The past year has been one of immense personal and professional growth for me, and so much of that is a direct result of your guidance. Thank you for your partnership, your trusted counsel, and for keeping us all living and focused on what truly matters. I look forward to continuing this great work together. Thank you, Tony. Turning now to the formal updates of my report for this evening, I want to address the results of the recent election. Because the override defeat was decisive, I have shared most of this with district leadership and the staff. District leadership must respect the democratic process and the voice of the voters. We must accept the results and focus our energy on moving forward. The painful reductions required to balance our budget for the upcoming school year are now our reality. As the community knows, this means class sizes up to 30 students in grades 1 through 4, the loss of our elementary interventionists, the elimination of middle school sports and athletic transportation, and the reconfiguration of our high school world language program, eliminating AP world language classes so that we can serve our 8th grade students. While these reductions strike at the core of what we want to provide for our students, we must be fully transparent about their impact. I shared with our administrative team that we will not ask our staff to magically do more with less. We've been asking them that far too long. We must acknowledge the stark reality of doing less with less. And we will not use temporary Band-Aids to hide these structural deficits from the community. We will support our educators as we adjust our expectations and operations accordingly. However, accepting this year's reality does not mean we are giving up on the future of the Lunenburg Public Schools. Over the next year, our goal is to move from emotion to data. Our administrators will be working with staff to track exactly what happens in our classrooms as a result of these reductions, so we can build a unified, data-driven community coalition for proper funding in the 2027-2028 school year. As I told our team, we are bruised, but we are not broken. Our students will still walk through our doors looking for the safe, engaging, and supportive environment we always provide for them. And together as a community, we will continue to be there for them. This commitment to our students was on full display during 2 classroom visits I made just before the election. It is easy in these heavy moments now to get lost in the spreadsheets, the budget deficits, and the incredibly difficult decisions we had to make. But reflecting on those visits has grounded me and reminded me of exactly what is at stake and why the work we do at this table matters so much. First, I had the honor of joining Mary Foyle's sophomore English class. I sat in their class circle where they formed connections over get-to-know-you questions, and I learned that our high schoolers are very passionate about shoes. But then I watched as they transitioned into an academic discussion about busting in Boston. I watched these students evaluate sources, discuss complex social issues, and make brilliant connections between texts. I saw how they rise to meet high expectations when a teacher expertly steps into the role of facilitator and lets them run with it. Following that, I had the absolute joy of reading to Ms. Colello's preschool class. We gathered in a circle, and I got to talk with our youngest learners about what matters most to them. We practiced the foundational skills of being in a community, raising our hands and waiting for someone to finish speaking before eagerly sharing how much we love our families or who our best friends are. While I was reading, I also witnessed true inclusion in practice. Miss Linda and Miss Sarah were beautifully supporting some of our friends, ensuring they were active, genuine participants in story time. This is what early intervention and dedicated support staff look like in action. Seeing these 2 classrooms back to back, our young adults and our youngest learners, made the educational continuum incredibly real for me. Not that I didn't know it before, but this made it really real. Sitting with those little ones in preschool, just starting their journey, I couldn't help but reflect on the sophomores I had visited earlier, imagining these preschoolers in 12 years tackling complex social issues in Ms. Foyle's class. Every single step is important. Each milestone builds on the last. The reality of our budget means we are facing the hard choices I outlined earlier. But the magic I saw in those classrooms, the rigorous student-led critical thinking in high school, and the inclusive supportive foundation in preschool is exactly what we are fighting to protect. It is a reminder of the incredible caliber of our educators. I want to extend a huge thank you to Ms. Foyle, Ms. Colello, Ms. Linda, and Ms. Sarah for reminding me that despite our financial setbacks, the heart of our district remains strong. As we navigate this new reality and adjust our operations, we must keep these classrooms at the forefront of our minds, fiercely protecting that 12-year journey for every single student in Lunenburg. And then in less exciting news, looking ahead to tomorrow, I will be attending the Massachusetts Association of School Superintendents Spring Presidents Meeting. The theme for this convening is Steady, Strong, and Strategic, Leading from Who You Are. As we navigate these difficult and important transitions here in Lunenburg, I am looking forward to exploring how to be even more authentic in my leadership, connecting with old friends, and networking with fellow superintendents from across the state. That concludes my superintendent's report.
All right, so new business, I think we're gonna put off for a second the committee reorganization and go to next steps after override. If we want to do that, does that work? Okay.
So how do you want to do this, Mr. Chair?
What do you want to do? It's fine with me.
Okay. So earlier this week, I had sent a memo to the school committee about some potential options that we could have. We could call for a special town meeting and election for a school-only override. The town manager and I have spoken. She would not stand in the way of this, should this be the course of action that we wish to go. We could do a call for a special town meeting, election for a smaller level services override, or we could stand firm on the balanced budget. My recommendation to the committee, and it's just a recommendation, is that we implement the balanced budget and launch a community task force, given that the override was defeated resoundingly, that the margins were not close in the vote. Attempting option 1 or 2 right now carries extreme political risk. Returning to the voters immediately may be perceived as tone deaf or dismissive of their decision. A second defeat would severely fracture our community and damage the district's credibility for years to come. Therefore, my strong recommendation is to pursue option 3. We must operate within the balanced budget we have prepared. Crucially, we must resist the urge to find one-time funds or drain district reserves to artificially mask the impact of these cuts. If we continue to shield the community from the reality of an underfunded district, we will never successfully pass an override in the future, as voters will assume we always have these hidden reserves. And then immediate action. We need to start planning for 27-28 now. Rather than looking backward, we must immediately begin building the runway for the future. I'm requesting that the school committee charter a future Lunenburg Schools Community Task Force that will just be focused on the schools. This task force should include parents, educators, town officials, and most importantly, vocal opponents of the recent override. We must open our books entirely and invite the community to deeply understand the operational costs. Over the next 8 to 10 months, we will track the data and the impact of our current cuts. Our goal is that by spring of 2027, the push for adequate school funding will be driven not just by district leadership, but by a unified, informed community coalition. I look forward to discussing this strategy with all of you tonight.
So I'll open that up for discussion. Does anybody want to say anything?
I feel as though I was extremely disappointed by the resounding no. I think there's a tendency for me to think that maybe if we'd gone at it alone, there would have been more support for the schools. But I don't know that. You know, I don't, there's no, right? I think that we did not get a lot of criticism based on the public discourse about the override. That most of the criticism was directed at other places, whether that's because it was easier targets, you know what I mean, or it was legit that was where the problem lay, right? I think that's a question. I do think rising gas prices over the last month are a huge part of the resounding no. I maybe we wouldn't have won. I'm not saying that's the reason we lost, but I do think that the fear of the economy, I think, did not help us in any shape of the word. I've talked to a lot of people. I'm exhausted. I do think the select board has floated the idea of looking for more money, but I don't think, like Dr. Fortuna said, I don't want us to be, searching for one-time funding. The legislature has looked like they are committed to possibly giving us more money, but we will not know that till July. I do want to assure anyone who's on the call that future legislative advocacy could continue to help this. The Senate did put almost $400,000 more in the budget for Lunenburg, and that's a significant amount of money. Budgeting wise, we never rely on that money. Many of you may have known that last year we had some more money, we didn't go after it. I am 100% committed to figuring out how that money, and I know you can't hire staff on that, but that money is money that we need to be 100% at the town, that is money that we need in the fall. And regardless of what that pays for, what we save to pay for that. While I am happy to hear opinions, I am really tired of task forces. I'm just not sure how effective. We ask people to come here and speak. What are we doing? What are we going to do differently? And I think, last year alone discourages people from participating in the process at all, because there's just so much volume. I mean, the amount of meetings we sat through, which respectfully didn't have much to do with the school budget, and I was glad to hear some of it, but a lot of it felt very, very long and nobody in the community watched those meetings. None of that was ever discussed by the community. And I appreciate the Facebook warriors who've been trying to, talk back and say, this is a year-long process, there were all these meetings, you should have been involved. But I think a lot of what Tony is saying, our lack of communication skills at that level was really a huge detriment to us, talking about how much the library spends on their photocopier.
Or their name tags?
Or their name tags.
Okay.
Last fall was, well, I love the library and I'm glad they have a photocopier and I'm glad they have name tags. I have no idea how that was relevant to the town budget this year. So I guess that's, it's not really a conclusion, but I guess that's really where I'm at. I am happy to take as much input from the community as possible. Next year, we are going to have to cut high school sports. So if people who like sports didn't come out and vote for this override, I don't know what to tell them, right? Unless another $1 million comes from the state or something, right? I mean, the good news is that the only sliver of good news that I can tell you is that the Chapter 70 Formula Commission, which is a group that would get together and actually look at the state funding formula, is in the Senate budget. So if that makes it through, there will be an opportunity to advocate to the state for more money. That is a 2-year process. That report will not be due till the fall of 28. So that means that budget, we would not expect that money until 10, right? Is that, so if the report came out in the fall of 28.
Half my children will be graduated.
Right, right, so I'm not saying that isn't a possibility in the future, but that is a long way away. I think we did a terrible job messaging, me too, that this was supposed to be a bridge to that, right? And also the idea that people kept saying, why is the number so high? Well, over the last few years, and people on this table have been on this roller coaster with me for 3 years. The first year it was let's give enough money to make it through. The second year, it was, well, let's wait, so we can ask for a big override. The third year, it was like, wait, this is too much. Why are you working with everyone? So I think the public doesn't know what they want.
I think it comes down to not understanding.
And not understanding,
More
right?
than anything.
Yeah, I
Just,
think they did.
not that social media is the thing, but like,
Right.
listening and watching and seeing the comments that people have made, it's very clear that they're not paying attention, and it's very clear that they're not listening when people are giving them accurate information.
Yeah.
Um,
And
which is why I think,
yeah.
sorry, I didn't.
No,
bring it
you
up.
talk, I'm sorry, and I don't want to,
I don't want to agree with you, but 1 and 2, option 1 and 2 is probably not the best choice. But I hate that we have to do the balanced budget.
right.
And I also think that I don't know that the task force is going to have the purpose it needs to have, just based on the community as a whole right now and what they're thinking and feeling about the override in general. I just don't know if people are going to come. They had many opportunities this year to come and listen and get the accurate information, debate, speak, and nobody did. Nobody did.
No,
Except a few people from, a few staff members and a couple community members.
I think I know Laura Bourget's address by heart.
Right, right.
I mean, there are
Thank
people
you,
out there that
Laura.
have been wonderful and supportive,
Right,
but like,
but there's not, I don't know that there's enough to,
Like-
is the task force gonna be us? Cause we already have a
Right.
lot going on, like how are we gonna get people to want to be part of that?
and it just feels like the
When they're not even
same
involved yet.
people,
Can I,
right?
I think that like, I just want to say something real quick.
Yeah,
I think there is a way, I have an idea about how to make the task force work.
really?
Yes, but I wanted to make.
I'm not saying we shouldn't try.
Okay.
I'm just,
No,
I think I'm just worried about it. I'm not saying we shouldn't put that effort in, we gotta put effort in. It's never gonna change if we don't, but I worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at all we did this year and where we ended up. I worry about adding one more thing to that and it not panning out.
And I also think, and I think Jody did an amazing job with what she could share for information. Like, but like, I also think the town did, because we don't have a political arm, right? And we had great people who tried to do what they could do, in the time periods we had around our regular lives, right? And you don't have paid advertising. I mean, this is the thing, like, paid advertising is what wins other elections, right? And like, placements in local media, right? Or Facebook or whatever, and just like not having, number one, the money, but the bandwidth to do that kind of stuff is just so hard to fight the huge amount of disinformation, negativity, just general.
I think you after going through this
Yeah.
for a few years and sitting on the school committee, your amount of information you shared consistently with the community was very much appreciated.
Right.
As a school committee member, as a community member, as a parent, as a teacher.
Yeah, and notice
That's not
we
in
didn't,
this district,
and
but
we didn't
still,
get a lot
like-
of questions about our part of the budget, and that's just the
None.
truth, none. So
And we
that's
gave
why.
a 10-minute presentation.
And we gave a 10-minute presentation, and that's why I don't know, right? And I can't attest everything, attribute everything to that, but it is an interesting conversation, right? Of like, do people have problems with what the school were asking, or do they have problems with the general overarching thing, right? And I know we asked for more than level funding, which a few people had, on other boards pushed back on, and people in the public, but like and I was a prime proponent of that, because I have been told my entire life, having grown up here, that we will never pass overrides, right? I mean, this is literally, and when I got back involved 3 or 4 years ago, I mean, I go places everywhere, and like people I know are like, oh wow, you'll never pass an override in that town. Like someone said to me the other day, I'm like, we passed one 3 years ago. And they're like, well, it must, and I'm like, well, it must have been because it rained. I mean, that's literally, like, it rained that day. And nobody thought it was gonna pass. So all the people who were against it didn't come vote no, because they just thought we had no shot. Like, that's how it feels.
Okay, so
Okay, so sorry,
here's my perspective. I do not think we should do number one or number two. I think for all the reasons stated, it's a bad idea. I also think that it's important to recognize the message that we were sent,
yeah.
which is this was not communicated clearly, or the need in some parts of the proposal was not real. Either of those two things indicates that we have a problem. And the problem can be solved by doing real long-term budgeting. One of the things that was frustrating about the tri-board meeting was that it was sold to us as we're going to work together to create a
3-year
three-year
projection.
and 5-year projection that collapsed at the end, and it was just like, what's the override number? That was the only purpose. And if that would have been the only purpose, that's fine too. And I don't think it was a bad idea, but like we didn't do one of the two things we were supposed to accomplish. And the concern that I have is if we make an emotional decision about reallocating funds, and it is not a recurring item within the town budget, that all we are doing is being bad with money again,
Yep.
right? If somebody says to you, I'm gonna give you $1,000 and I want you to invest this prudently in 12 months. Or they say to you, I'm gonna give you $1,000 and you've got to invest this by the end of the day. My guess is that if you have everything else equal, the person that has a year is going to have a much higher return on the investment than the person that had 24 hours. And we consistently budget like this in town. It is irresponsible, it is imprudent, and it is wasteful of other people's money. Like, it drives me crazy that people don't realize that everything that we do here is other people's money. It is not our money. We are not entitled to it. It is given to us by legitimated coercion that is the law in the tax code. But it is other people's money. You need to spend other people's money like it is other people's money, which is to be incredibly scrupulous stewards of that money. And going back to the taxpayers after a resounding drubbing at the polls as an emotional response, or to allocate one-time funds as an emotional response, is simply imprudent, and it is not something that we should countenance. We have got to get off the crazy train of emotional short-term budgeting, or no one in town is going to respect financial decisions or financial claims of hardship that we make. We cannot keep doing this, and the fact that we're still having this discussion is kind of nutty.
Can we just talk about the 3-year projections? Because I agree with you that one of the things that we promised last year, I'm not sure it was us, the school committee, but the town promised through the tri-board process was a multi-year approach.
Yep.
Because people keep saying, why do we keep having overrides? And that is something that I think is inaccurate, completely inaccurate, because we went over 20 years without one, right? But, you know, the feeling of not getting off this train. I do think there's some realities in municipal budgeting
Oh, sure.
that make it harder. So I just want to make sure when we're selling, we need to find the right balance of saying, like, we can do projections, but not. Like, I think our previous superintendent was so immune to the projections that hurt us and a lot. I think Jody and Chris have really tried, right? But I also think there's got to be some way, and this is again communication, right? That like there's only so many realities of what you can budget municipal wise.
I totally agree, but the fact that we did not try.
Yeah. Oh no. I mean,
If you try and fail, that's one thing. If you don't try at all, then like shame on you. The second thing that I would say is, so I do not think we should do 1 or 2. I think we should follow the superintendent's recommendation and do number 3. The second thing that I would say is, I think that if we look at this task force as, hey, everybody, come give us ideas, that is going to be doomed to the same failure
Yes.
that the budget task force was,
Yes.
that the tri-board meeting was. So here's what I would suggest.
Yes.
I would suggest that we go out and we invite certain people. And I'm gonna just name names. I think we should invite Mr. Plant. Mr. Plant has been at a lot of meetings. He has said a lot of things that were really insightful. He has said things I do not agree with, but he has at least taken the time and he has made the arguments. Sometimes I think that his arguments are based on incorrect facts, but sometimes I think his arguments are based on good facts. And I think that one of the things that we have to do is we have to invite people who disagree with us. I think we do that, number one, because it adds legitimacy.
Yeah, no,
Number two, it increases diversity. And number three, here's the deal. I think that if we bring in people who think that we are wrong and we show them the facts, I am confident in our staff's ability to make accurate assessments of our financial realities. That those people, once they see it for themselves, once they put their hands on it, they will realize we are right and we need it. That is the best proof that you are correct. That you can give it to somebody else, they can look at the same numbers and come to the same conclusion. It is the premise of science. This is how you do it. We need to present our budget as a document of falsifiability. Can you show me where I'm wrong? And if we don't invite our opponents to this, they will never agree that we've done that. So I think that we should have Mr. Plant, who has a very serious and legitimate, and I do believe good faith basis to dislike how we do SEL. I think the amount of money he thinks we spend is incorrect, but I would go out and invite him. I would also go out and invite the football coach. He has proven time and again that he understands the value of sports working with education. And before we go down the death spiral of cutting sports, I would like to have him sit there and talk to us about what that means. Because he has done things with the kids on the football team and other athletes in school that is a model for what we want that to look like, right? Like, it's Mary Poppins. A spoonful of sugar is what sports works as for a lot of kids.
Yeah. Oh, and I
And
don't
so
want to cut
we
sports,
want-
because I just like.
No, I understand.
It's like the only thing people pay attention to, it feels like.
That's fine. I also
I mean,
think
that's
that
part
we
of
need
the
to
issue,
invite.
right?
I think that we need to invite people who have some real experience with municipal government in this town.
She's hiding.
She's not looking at me.
She's doing it.
I think one of the people who is on the loose group of people I refer to as the chair emeritus's would be an ideal person, either Ms. Hall or any of the other people that have been chairs and have insights and a longitudinal historical perspective on the town. Because I think that oftentimes we have people that want to get involved, but it's like they have like Groundhog Day and they don't have this long-term perspective that somebody like Mr. Rogers or Jane, patron saint of school committee,
I mean,
that they, or Carol could provide. And like having one of those people. I also think that we need to go out and we need to ask people like Mr. Bowen. Mr. Bowen's presentation last school committee was a compelling display of how much a parent cares about the school and his child's education. And even though I disagree with him on some things, and even though he is a very vocal person, I think having him on this panel would be a wonderful thing for the town. I also think that somebody like Michael Ray Jeffries, who has insights into how town politics works and understands the select board and their budget, would be useful to have. I think what we've got to do is we've got to target people who we know can bring something to the table and specifically invite them. I would also invite Jack. I think Mr. Rabbit has a very good perspective, both historically and from the perspective of the tax assessor board. And if he would be willing to help, it would be a great insight. I'm going to call out somebody who
What
is,
are we going to ask these people?
I'm asking him right now.
I mean, this is not, I love all these people, sure, come and tell us what you want. But like, haven't we just like gone through the budget with a fine tooth comb? Like, I feel like they're gonna come and say, wow, looks like you need more money. I mean,
But here's the thing,
But that's-
I think that's.
the goal isn't
Disagree.
the goal is not just to convince them, but have them see this, understand it to be true, and then become advocates. If we target people who are at the center of these networks or communities within our community, I think that's how you build consensus. If we keep talking to the same people about the same issues with the same approach, we're just preaching to the choir the same hymn over and over again. I think we should ask TJ to do it. TJ certainly has spent a lot of time on the budget. He knows it quite well. Laura could also help. I don't want to add anything to one of the teachers in town, but I think Lynn would be an excellent person. She has
Or Lynn came to the
both
meeting
as
and
a
actually.
perspective as a teacher, but also she's lived in this
As a
town. She went
Lunenburg
to
High
school.
grad.
Right? So like, those are the kinds of people that we need to have. People that have different perspectives, meaningful connections to different networks, and then we show them our work and say, are we wrong? And the result is either they find something that we're missing and it saves the day, which I don't think will happen, or they are convinced by the data and they're like, you know what? You're right, let's all push. But I think that if we go about this and make it the same kind of committee that we've done before, and we ask for volunteers, as opposed to go out and invite people, we're gonna get the same 10 or 20, municipal town politics nerds that do everything. And it's not useful.
I just don't want it to not be useful. Like that's the thing. And I don't want to ask the time of these people, right? If it's not going to be useful. I mean, I guess maybe asking people to volunteer for a shorter time period thing is not the same as asking
Like if we had them do
to
like
join the school committee,
two
right?
two workshops
But,
that
like-
were like, one weekend in the fall and one weekend in the spring, where they gave, 4 or 6 hours, I think that they could come up with really good ideas. You give them some homework, look at the budget, whatever. But like, there are ways to do this. We just can't do it the same way we did before. Like, the budget task force was a giant waste of time. Even though everything that we have recommended, at some point people were like, oh, we should do that. But it had no effect. Like, we even gave a list that was like, here is the order in which you should do things. Here is who needs to vote. It was like not quite as good as Dr. Sarfty's what motion to make, but like, I tried to do that. It had no impact. When we did the budget task force, I felt like so much of it was just, gum flapping about how you pay for name tags, or like the senior calendar, or, any number of things that like were just too granular to make sense. And when you look at presentations about the budget at town meeting were I sat through all that and I was still daunted by what was being said. It was inscrutable. Even the slides were inscrutable. Like, you look up there and it's
Love that
8-point
word.
fart and you can't tell anything about what's going on. We've just become a group of people who exist in a silo, and we have not reached outside the silo. And I think that is in part why the override failed, and I think that's why a lot of the stuff at town government with volunteers has failed. I think that's why a bunch of task forces. We've got to do it differently. But I do think that we can do it differently. And so,
Tony, hey, Tony, I'm back. Can I?
Yes.
I'm gonna
hop in.
Can I? So I want to disagree. I don't think the budget task force was 100% a waste of time. I got out of it a much more comprehensive view of the municipal financing and how we work as a municipality. And I do think that we are working together more
Yep.
cooperatively. I think that the efforts leading up to the override efforts, with some notable exceptions, were I saw a lot more advocacy for the schools and a lot more understanding, and I personally felt a lot more understanding of the needs of the town. And I think that this time around, it was not grab as much as you can and screw the other side. Sorry. It was more, it was a lot more cooperative, and even now, it feels a lot more cooperative. So I don't think there was a lot of hours wasted on what was ultimately a failed override effort, but I don't think all of the hours were wasted. I think it's useful.
I would also add, if she's willing, I think Karen Menard has an excellent perspective on how the town has worked and how town government works.
Yeah, she would be great.
I will say, when I was at the select, or at town meeting, I was with my son, and she came by and she said something, and my son said, "Is she the mom of the town?" And I was like, "She's kind of the mom of the
She is the mom
town."
of the town. I think she's watching too,
Yeah.
so.
But
Hi, Karen.
we gotta find those people that understand what's going on, and we've got to screen them with an eye towards, can they help, as opposed to can they agree? Like, I don't care if you agree. I wanna hear what you have to say. So I am in support of both the task force and option 3. I don't think that we just cannot go down the path of emotion-based budgeting anymore.
I have a question.
Sure.
I know with like warrants and scholarships, they like go towards specific things. If someone makes a donation, can they have it go towards a certain thing as well? Because I know like earlier, like at the beginning of like the budget cycle, when the talk of like 5th grade band was like being cut, like Laura Brushin, like as president of the Music Makers, was like, could we donate the funds for the position? Is that like an option?
So it depends on what the donation is for, and it gets into some complex legalities.
Yeah.
Like, we couldn't have somebody say they were gonna donate the money to fund the coach for the golf team, right? Because then they would be hiring district personnel and would have an unfair, undue influence over the district personnel. So we have to be really careful about some things like that. But there's some creative examples that I just received a proposal today, so I'm not ready to talk about it, about how to keep 5th grade band running. And so looking at things like that. But there's complex legalities with a lot
Well,
of
that's
this.
why I wasn't totally sure, because I know at the beginning it was like, oh, like that probably wouldn't work, but then there was something where like, oh, well, what if we donated the funds for that much money in materials, and then you could move the money of those materials.
Right.
And so I wasn't sure
Yeah.
how that worked.
Sorry.
It's okay. So we don't have to decide on the task force tonight, but I wanted to make sure, since I know the selectmen were waiting to hear our voice, that we had a conversation about what we would like to do in the near future.
Yes, the only thing I would say back to the select board is if they have non-reoccurring funds that are a part of their balanced budget that they now feel maybe are funds that they are not, money that they don't want to spend on those certain things now, I would be very open to that conversation. But it has to be it has to be reoccurring funds. Whatever I said was, it has to be money that is not one time.
I mean, the reality is they have given us some form of one-time, non-recurring funding 3 out of the last 4 years. So
Yeah.
at some point, it's just recurring funding that they don't tell us about and we can't budget for.
Right.
And that is absolutely wasteful of other people's money.
Yeah, exactly, and it's not budgeting for it through the regular budget process where we have thoughtfully talked about what is the best way to spend our money. I mean, there's always the chance that the schools could get more of the pie, and I know everyone wants to work together, but I'm just gonna say it, I mean, that is a possibility as the years go on, is that the schools can get more of the pie. And so that is something we will have to, over the next year. But, you know, and I am, like, the money that's coming from the legislature, if there is more money in the budget in July, like, should go after that money, like, I will not stand for us not going after that money. Because that's the work of a lot of people in the community who've been doing, and the state, you know, folks and Caesar and others, but, yeah. Do we want to just,
We can leave it there, okay, for now.
I thought it was a good idea for what it's worth.
Excellent.
We gotta get people involved.
Laura, are you here now permanently? I'm gonna head out because I wasn't gonna come tonight, but I came for quorum.
She might be watching it.
She's here, she's on.
Oh, she's not online.
But when she tells us she is, I'm gonna head out, but okay, I came tonight for quorum.
Thank you, Mandy. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
All right. Are we, the next thing is resolutions of appreciation.
That's what you do annually to recognize all of the staff members and all of the
Alright.
appreciation weeks that happen throughout the year.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read one paragraph and then pass it down. We good? Whereas,
Since 2024.
huh?
Fortunately, the first one says May
I got it.
14th, 2024.
I can fix
We'll
that.
fix it. Okay. It's fine. I just was like, wait a minute.
There she is.
Oh. Wow, it's the same. Wow. All right, so the first one, these are Lunenburg's public school resolution. Whereas teachers mold the future citizens through guidance and education, teachers spend countless hours preparing lessons, evaluating progress, counseling and coaching students, and performing community service. And our community recognizes and supports its teachers in educating the children of the community. Therefore, be it resolved that the Lunenburg School Committee proclaim May 4th through 8th, 2026 to be National Teacher Appreciation Week, and May 5th be National Teacher Appreciation Day. Yes, sir.
Yeah, like, okay. Whereas principals are expected to be educational visionaries, instructional leaders, assessment experts, disciplinarians, community builders, public relations experts, etc. Entrusted with the education and development of young people, the most valuable resource, principals set the academic tone for their schools and work collaboratively with teachers to develop and maintain high curriculum standards and set performance goals and objectives for schools to achieve educational excellence. Therefore, be it resolved in honor of the service of all principals and to recognize the importance of their school leadership so that every child has access to a high-quality education, the day of May 1st, 2026 is hereby designated in Lunenburg to be National Principals Day.
Whereas assistant principals play a pivotal role in helping students succeed in school by fostering the academic success and well-being of each student through communication and building relationships. Furthermore, assistant principals play a key role in working collaboratively to provide guidance and support to teachers and principals. Therefore, be it resolved, the Lunenburg School Committee declares the week of April 6th through 10th as National Assistant Principals Week.
Whereas the school nurses support the health and educational success of children and youth by providing access to care. The school community celebrates and acknowledges the accomplishments of school nurses and their efforts of meeting the needs of today's students by improving the delivery of health care in our schools and offers gratitude for the district school nurses who contribute to our local communities by helping students stay healthy in school and ready to learn. Therefore, be it resolved that the Lunenburg School Committee proclaims May 6th through 12th, 2026 to be the School Nurses Week and strongly encourages all members of our community to join in with personally expressing appreciation to our nurses for their dedication and devotion to their work.
Whereas paraprofessionals play a vital role in the successful operation of our school district and the dedicated and valuable contributions of all the fine people who fill these important positions are integral to the successful daily operation of our schools. Therefore, be it resolved that the Lunenburg School Committee proclaim April 1st, 2026 to be Paraprofessional Appreciation Day.
Whereas the staff of the district's School Meals and Nutrition Department, who are committed to providing healthful, nutritious meals to the district's children, and the men and women who prepare and serve school meals to help nurture our children through their daily interaction and support. Therefore, be it resolved that the Lunenburg School District expresses its deep appreciation to these valuable food service employees and commends their good work on behalf of children. The day of Friday, May 1st is School Lunch Hero Day.
Whereas administrative professionals in the Lunenburg Public Schools play key roles, bear many responsibilities, and are crucial to the efficient functioning and smooth running of day-to-day operations as they assist educators, principals, students, and parents. Therefore, be it resolved that Administrative Professionals Day be observed on April 22nd, 2026.
Whereas our custodians are constantly responsible for all Lunenburg Public School facilities. They are the first employees to arrive in the morning and the last employees to leave at night. And their contribution is critical in allowing this for the smooth daily operation of the school. Therefore, be it resolved, the school committee of the Lunenburg Public Schools, on behalf of all students and personnel, does hereby proclaim the day of October 2nd, 2026 as Custodian Appreciation Day for the Lunenburg Public Schools. Aha! Wait, did I
missed a sentence.
Oh, I missed a sentence. Urging all parents and students and employees to join in congratulating all custodians for jobs well done and in saying thank you.
We have a lot of staff to be appreciated. Whereas coaches represent stability, consistency, and direction in the lives of many athletes. A coach is a friend, a mentor, and an advocate that helps demonstrate an athlete's teamwork, discipline, and a healthy attitude towards competition. Therefore, be it resolved the designation of October 6, 2026 as National Coaches Day to raise public awareness about the important and significant role that coaches play in the lives of millions of people in the United States.
Whereas school bus drivers are required to undergo extensive training to improve their knowledge and skills as a way to ensure the safety and well-being of students, the position of a school bus driver requires tremendous responsibility in transporting Massachusetts students through inclement weather conditions in various traffic situations. Therefore, be it resolved, the Lunenburg School Committee proclaims April 28, 2026 to be School Bus Driver Appreciation Day and strongly encourages all members of our community to join in personally expressing appreciation to our bus drivers for their dedication and devotion to their work.
Whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the problems, duties, and responsibilities of their police department, and that members of our department recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, protecting them against violence or disorder, and protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression or intimidation. Therefore, be it resolved, proclaim the week of May 11, 2026 to be National Police Officers Week.
Whereas Tuesday, April 21st, 2026 is National Library Workers Day, a time to recognize library professionals for their expertise and leadership skills in transforming lives and communities through education and lifelong learning. The day also reminds the public that library workers serve as community compasses that lead users to endless opportunities for engagement, enrichment, and development. Adopted this 20th day of May, 2026. Signed, the Chair of the Lunenburg School Committee. That was perfect.
The last one. All right. Before you get to the revisit fifth grade consent, let's go back to committee reorganization. So, I would nominate Laura Brzozowski, who has the second hardest last name to pronounce. Maybe.
First.
Me? Skill and reading? I don't know.
I feel like hers
I would nominate Laura Brzozowski to be the chair of school committee. I can tell you that since she has joined, she has proven to be a really great sounding board. She's been a tireless advocate for kids. She has dug into things, issues with the fastidiousness of a private investigator. She is unwavering in her support for our staff and our administrators. I think that there's nobody that would be better at this job on the committee. So Emily, I expect you to take a turn soon. I hope that she will do as well as the chair she's done in every other role here. And I will tell you this, I really have had Laura at my beck and call on the telephone almost every day.
I think we've talked each other down.
Many times. We've talked each other down, and so like, it's not really that she's becoming the chair, but she was co-chair this year for all intents and purposes. There were things that I couldn't do, and she made it happen. There were things that I thought were right, and I eventually knew that they were wrong, and it's because she's been such a wise counsel. So I would nominate Laura to be chair of school.
Do I second? Do I have to second
Second.
that? 1 second.
Yeah?
We're actually taking this out of order.
Yes.
So if you need the document, I can give you the document, but it's also in your folder.
Sure.
If you can, yeah.
I have it. I should roll it.
You have it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want us
Do you
to
want to
vote
vote
on
on it?
Oh, this part, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's
So
not
we
the
need
one I
to
have.
do that first, and then we can go on to the
Okay,
committee
so do the
appointments.
highlighted things?
Yeah.
Sure. Let's just sort of
Okay.
So the first thing that we have to do is approve to continue all existing policies in effect for the ensuing year. I would look for a motion to do that. Is that right?
Yep.
Make a motion to approve to continue all existing policies in effect for the ensuing year.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That passes. Approved to authorize student activities funds for the following amounts: primary school $2,000, Trinity Hill $2,000, middle school $5,000, high school $10,000.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Approve a waiver to allow food and beverages with lids in the LMHS auditorium for annual town meeting and special town meeting.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye. School committee authorizes superintendents and those delegated by the superintendent to pursue all grants for the next 12 months that promote the Lunenburg School District's strategy for continuous improvement.
Definitely so moved. Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
All right. Now we go to, I pass this over to Dr. Fortuna. Okay. Now we have to do the votes.
Now Dr. Fortuna's
Right.
in charge.
Yes. So I am looking for nominations for the chair of the Lunenburg School Committee for the school year 2026-2027.
I'll nominate Laura for all the reasons I already said out of order.
I was just thinking it'd be really funny if I nominated out of
You
order.
better not. I will leave. And,
And you gotta say, well, you don't have to, I just don't. Second.
all in favor?
You don't get to do
Oh.
that. All in favor?
Aye.
Tony, you get to
Aye.
vote. Excellent. Congratulations, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Here's your paper for that, so you can continue with the rest of
Oh,
I did not. All right, now you get to do the rest.
All right. So I am now looking for nominations for vice chair for the 2026-2027 year. Can I nominate you? Is that all right?
Sure, that's fine.
All right, I would like to nominate Tony School and Brainy, because I think we've been handling things kind of well as a team, and we both tend to, different things are important to us, which I think works well.
Yeah,
We talk each other off the ledge, 'cause
multiple times.
yep, different ledges, so it works out. So I would like to nominate Tony for vice chair. Second. Okay. Oh, yeah, all in favor? Aye. Okay. Secretary, would you like to do it? Okay. So can we nominate Mandy if she's not here?
She's not here to accept the nomination.
Okay. Can we provisionally nominate her and do that part? Okay, so I would like to nominate
Nominate Mandy.
Mandy Gilman as secretary. Provisionally, once she accepts the nomination. Can I get a second? Second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we will ask Mandy to accept next meeting. And then we have Emily and we'll have Jean will join us when she gets sworn in.
Awesome. We'll be at full strength.
Yeah, that's gonna be.
Finally.
And I'm really excited because Jean brings, she's not a parent of students in the district, and I think she brings, I think that's an important
Yes.
point, that it's not just parents. I think that's a really important point. Okay, appointments to existing committees. The official voting delegate to MASC, which I'm not sure we need,
You
but.
do not need anymore.
Okay, legal representative for the, legislative representative for school committee.
Mandy.
Yep,
Yeah.
can we, all right, so,
Can we do that though? She's not here. Just tell her.
she said put her on
Okay.
stuff, and then if we need to revisit next meeting, I think we can. Spokesperson is usually the chair, that's. Okay, and Dr. Fortuna, you get to do that part, 'cause, policy, so Tony and I have been doing policy, but we've been,
I like doing it. I don't
yeah,
mind.
you're not leaving, you're on policy. I don't mind continuing to do it if no one else wants to, but if Ben wants to be my fourth year, so at some point.
It's good.
All right, we're gonna have to get people up to speed on that. And the administrators, some of them are TBD. Rob McGrath is going to be replacing Mr. Vaughn. Yeah, there is some moving.
That particular contract is not signed yet,
Okay.
which is why I did not make the announcement. this
Okay,
evening.
yep, then we will figure that one out as staffing comes on.
This is the middle school council group thing?
No, this is just
Oh, okay.
these guys, and that's okay, because it's not our kids. Sick leave bank. So you've been doing sick leave bank, I only did it one or two,
I think
it's not that busy, do you wanna keep doing it?
Well, the problem with the sick leave bank is they wanna meet right after school, and my after school is 5:30, 6 o'clock.
Yeah,
So that's
okay.
not gonna work for me.
We can ask, Jean, are you on the Zoom?
Jean is on the Zoom. I'll ask Jean to unmute.
We could, if Jean's available after school, because I know it's more convenient for the teachers to do it immediately after school. I can also do it sometimes. Did she
She did not unmute.
Okay.
She does not.
All right, I don't mind taking that one, because I think it like 3 times last year, and that was not bad at all. Okay, superintendent, why are there stars next to your name?
I don't know, I was just gonna ask Liz that. Does she
Okay.
know something I don't know?
Don't like that.
It's just because you're wonderful.
You played 160
stars.
games instead of 154.
Don't scare me like that. Oh my gosh, jeez, okay.
Basically, that's just to designate that person obviously isn't going to be one of you. It has to be the
Okay. I thought I missed something real big. Executive board member to Keystone, you're okay.
I can do
Okay. Finance committee.
I'll do that.
Rep. Except I'm also gonna ask you to, so finance committee appointing committee is traditionally the chair. Can I? do
Yeah.
that one?
You mean the American Dodgeball Association of America?
It is
That's
my-
Peter's joke. I love that
It is my
joke.
favorite names committee because it's just,
Finance committee.
yeah, finance committee, appointing committee. Capital planning. They need someone dynamic on there. Peter is leaving and they need someone.
I'll do it.
Wellness advisory. That one also meets after school, so that's probably. Can we put Mandy on that one?
Yeah.
Let's see, if she's not available, we can.
You can place Jean on some of these too.
Okay,
if she's
yeah, I'm
available.
waiting for, all right, we can also decide on that next week. PTO liaison.
That's me.
Okay.
She's on me.
Paxal liaison, because you have been doing great with that, and that one needs a good time. School council reps, do we want to move it around?
Can I do middle school if somebody's not doing?
Yeah, so I was doing middle school, but I've done the other.
The high school.
Yeah,
I did
I
high
did.
school twice for me.
I think I went to the meetings, but I'd like to.
I'd like to do Turkey Hill.
Yeah,
I don't know when they meet. So if Mandy wants to switch.
I don't think it's after school.
But
It's
like after
inconvenient.
school, like 3:30 or after school evening?
Can you do
It's
like if it was on a
Do you know
Wednesday?
when?
Could you do it?
I want to say 4, but I'm not
sure, to be honest.
Okay. What time?
Possibly 4. I can look at the calendar and see where they are now if you want.
What?
I can look at the past calendars and see if they're on there.
Sure.
Can you, if it was on a Wednesday, could you do it? No, that's okay. Okay. That is, okay, wait, so you wanna do middle school? Okay. I haven't done primary school. I don't think I've done primary school to high school yet, so I like switching it up. Primary school's a week with stats.
Tim runs a quick meeting.
Yeah, can I do the high school one? Your meetings are so efficient.
I think it's you and Tony. I don't think Emily has availability for these meetings.
For which
often.
one? After school?
After school.
Okay,
For the high school.
Yeah, we can split one.
okay. So Mandy was on Turkey Hill. Was Mandy going to?
No, Mandy was on primary.
Yep, she was that one
She
too.
did both.
Was she able to make those meetings? Like if we put her on it again?
Most of them, so
Okay.
primary and Turkey Hill do them on the same day.
What
Okay.
day? Well,
Third Monday, 4 to 5.
no, it's okay. I'll do primary because I'm gonna miss part. Do you wanna do Turkey Hill and then if it, like, for some reason I'm available? You wanna do
Yeah,
Turkey? Or we should put Jean on one because
Yeah,
Jean
yeah, let
should-
Jean.
All right, which you guys want Jean? You wanna put Jean on Turkey Hill?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Athletic Advisory Council. When does the Athletic Advisory Council meet? You were on that one.
Yep,
When do they meet?
I have no idea.
You want a lot, huh?
Look, I'm Ron Burgundy. If you put it on my calendar, I show up. I don't know what it is. I don't have any
Sometimes a
idea.
day early.
Do you know
Sometimes
Mr.
it's
Sandry?
early.
I apologize.
The Athletic Advisory Committee, do you know when they meet?
I do not, I apologize. I want to say 6 o'clock. I
Oh,
think it's
that's
a nighttime
nice.
meeting.
You wanna try for that, if that's at all? Can you do 6 o'clock or is?
We text from,
Like what? Like once a month?
Oh,
What day?
I thought it was like, we did like 4.
It's like once a quarter. You want that one? Okay. If you can't, it's okay. We can.
Where does that happen?
6 o'clock?
No, where?
Zoom?
Zoom?
It was on Zoom. Sweet.
That's not gonna work. It was fun, we'll try it. Lifelong Learning Advisory, are we?
We paused the lifelong learning
Because we can't
program for
afford
next
it.
year, yeah.
So do we still have a liaison or?
No, we don't need that for next
All
year.
right, crossing that one out. Lunenburg Municipal Building Design Committee. I was on that one. That one meets at 5 o'clock and the meetings last less than an hour and they're on Zoom. I don't know what's gonna happen going forward. But
I don't think we should have 2 celebrities on that.
No.
Oh.
Butt heads.
Was your dad on that?
Yes.
Yes.
His dad has opinions. More opinions than Tony. Yeah, I don't mind taking that one again, just because it was so easy and it's a efficient meeting. Master Planning Steering Committee, I don't think you guys are doing that anymore, right? That's done. Budget Task Force, I think whatever forms we'll have to appoint someone then. Like,
Yeah.
There's no more Budget Task Force. And,
And I would volunteer to do the Future Lunenburg Schools Task Force if we decide to do it.
yeah. And then LEAF, I'm not sure what's happening with that in the future.
Let's just wait and see.
So I'll stay on that. We actually have a meeting tomorrow night, so I'll stay on that for now, although the meetings are, for some reason, really hard for me to make. But we'll talk about that after. Okay, so Jean is, should we put, do you want to balance it out more? Yeah, so should we balance it out more, or is it, I mean,
Yeah, let's see how it works
we're kind
out.
of doing what we're doing, and we're pretty good at covering for each other when we need, so. Okay, does someone want to make a motion for what was just discussed? Or do you want me to read through?
No, no.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to accept the reorganization committee responsibilities as proposed.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Motion passes, all right. I thought we had more committees, it felt like more my first year. Okay, and then you have to tell me what we've done and haven't done, because I was not paying attention.
The last thing in new
Uh,
business is the
What,
fifth grade consent.
what on here haven't we done yet? Did we
We're
do-
on to revisit fifth grade.
Thank you. Okay, so, you guys didn't do that without me? Okay. I know Mandy had some strong feelings about this, and
We can table it.
I'd actually suggest we table this, because I know Mandy had strong feelings on it,
Mhm.
and nothing we do is going to affect things for the rest of the school year.
Correct.
So I think we can table this one
Mhm.
until next week. Can I motion for that? Or do we just table it?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Will it not inform people of how they're going to continue with the transportation forms and payment though?
Oh.
Because they may decide not to take the bus if they can't get off.
When is the payment
On
due
their
by?
own.
June
1st.
Oh. And when's our next?
June.
Oh.
That doesn't work.
So I agree that we should wait, but I don't know if that's,
Did you?
can we extend
did.
the?
Did you have opinions?
I reached out to our legal counsel,
Yes.
as I texted that I would do from the emergency room last week. And I was able to get one that is in your folder.
Is it the single page one? Because I saw there were.
Yeah, there's a bunch
One
of
from-
things in there,
There's
so
one from
it's the
others.
email one.
Okay, that was the opinion.
Yes. So our new attorney currently feels like it is restrictive for it to be fifth grade. Typically, this is required for younger grades and door-to-door transportation. The liability is primarily for students who need to walk some distance from the bus stop to their home, and in situations where an adult may not be home to receive them. How most districts do this is they make clear that parents are fully responsible for their child before they board the bus in the morning and as soon as they get off the bus at the end of the day. She attached the transportation guidelines, which I put in here from another school district that they represent that does a good job of communicating all the necessary points, including the bus form and the procedures that they have, and that we could also execute a waiver if that made us feel more comfortable. But executing a waiver would be onerous on our limited transportation department, who's also my executive assistant, who is also co-finance person, who is also human resources, who is also, I don't need to go on.
De
You don't know
facto
what she does.
assistant.
Lunenburg
Assistant
Public School
Superintendent.
consigliere.
Yes, there you go.
My thinking on it was almost why don't, because they, like, why don't we do third grade with a waiver the same way we do for fifth grade, because that's a different school, and I know it's the same bus route, but it's sort of a transition point. That was, I feel like the waiver is still important.
Well, we don't do a waiver now. We do it on, yeah, we do.
We do,
It is
definitely.
a waiver.
Do a
Yes.
waiver.
Yeah.
But I am
So,
for the extra work, that's an entire
Yeah.
school.
did you hear Chris Sullivan's comment?
There was a band.
Oh, okay. So
Part of
Chris-
it, yeah.
Chris Sullivan's comment I thought was really insightful. When his son was in the 4th grade, he could be signed out to walk home because of where they live. But he could not be put on
Yeah.
a bus and then let off at home.
So technically.
That makes no
Well,
sense.
so technically the walk home rule is you have to be able to see the parent before letting them walk.
Sure.
But I get it.
I mean, like, if the concern is that it's dangerous to walk on the streets or whatever, the fact that they could walk home, I mean, if parents are asking us to do this, I think we should be solicitous of their request, because it's already hard enough to be, the taxi driver for the kids and get all that stuff. And they're gonna know their kids better than we are. And if there's an executed waiver and our lawyers say it's okay, then try it and see what happens.
Could I be that weird person, though, that watches probably way too much true crime and follows the news way too closely? I'd be really concerned about parents of the 3rd graders who have their children going home, even though this is Lunenburg and we think nothing could ever happen in Lunenburg. Lunenburg, often these things happen in small communities that are very much like Lunenburg. So though our lawyers say that it's okay and 5th grade may be restrictive, I want us to think about it carefully.
Okay.
About how we craft this and what safeguards we'd expect to be in place.
I have 2 comments on this. One, we're saying it's not a liability as long as the parents sign a waiver, but I feel like the main concern shouldn't be a liability on the school, it should be the lives of the students. Because if a child gets an injury that'll last their lifetime or unfortunately does pass away, it doesn't matter if the school's liable, that's still a loss of a life of a student in our town. And then my second thing, I wouldn't necessarily trust all the time that parents know what's better for their children. There are probably a lot of lazy parents that would love to just sign that paper and let their kids walk home.
Well, I wouldn't say that, but.
Well, but it unfortunately is kind of true.
Is 3rd grade? So I know 5th grade, like most 2/3 of my 5th graders, I'm sorry, 1/3 of my 5th graders I would trust to do it. Is 4th grade, like developmentally, where are we looking at? Like, because 3rd grade does feel very young to me.
A bazillion years ago, 4th grade was the cutoff that we've used in other places.
Yeah, 3rd grade feels, I'm gonna have a 3rd grader next year, but.
I mean, I had a best friend in elementary school who ran a store his parents owned in the 1st grade when he got off the bus. I'm just saying, like, it's not, like, I think the idea that we should set a rule that usurps the authority and knowledge of parents is not a good one. I would defer to the parents and the lawyer and have a waiver. And as far as the age, like you said, 4th grade, I mean, that seems fine to me. Like, if they're saying that they can do it and they trust their kids, just like Karen's admonition about lazy parents,
No.
I would just be like, you can do that yourself. Like, we have them for like a 6, okay.
So.
Principal Scar.
Come on
Let's
up.
go to the
Yeah, like, she's the subject expert.
Yeah.
She knows more. 3rd
So
graders.
I'm the school that receives the students that come home back to the school.
Oh,
They
yeah.
come to the primary building, K to 5. We get a lot of phone calls, and there are a lot of kids that come back because the parents are either stuck in traffic, they're not home. So if a parent says we can let them off the bus, and then that parent's not home, we've let that kid off the bus, and there's no one to receive them. And there's no way of getting in contact with the bus once they're en route. We usually get the phone call from the bus company. We do our due diligence and call the company, but there's a delay with us calling them, and usually the kid is returned. So while it might not be a liability for us, it's that uncertainty of knowing that every kid is home and they're home safely. Whether a parent got them off, a babysitter, somebody received that child. And to not know where they are is a heavy burden for the administration that is sitting in the office until 4:15 every day when those buses get back in. So it will weigh heavy on us not knowing, and I don't want to be the one that receives a phone call from the police department that this kid never made it home.
Yeah, that is also.
That's a big,
Do the
like,
bus drivers know which kids have waivers? So.
Yes.
yes.
Okay, because I'm, like, what if there's a 3rd grader whose parents didn't sign the waiver, who gets let off,
Which when there's,
and there's no one there to receive them, and they're just waiting outside, and I'm actually, like, and it's cold out, or, you know, it's below freezing, and now we have a situation with a kid just sitting outside by themselves.
And little kids lose things a lot. They might be given a house key, doesn't mean they know where it is.
so,
Yeah, no, that's, how many returns do you get, Carla?
it depends. Roughly on a month, we could get about 5 kids returned.
Not that, I can't, oh, knock on wood, I cannot believe, because it's been close, like, sometimes trying to get home in time?
The bus companies, some of them go by the route several times, so they will circle back. If a parent is not there, they'll circle back before they bring them back to us. Mhm.
Having had to pick up my kid twice because I missed him being a dummy, I can tell you that it is very stressful for the kid. They look, where's my mom and dad? So,
My husband did almost forget once and chased the bus down.
I've done it twice.
And some of them have not picked up their kids until 5 o'clock. So imagine
never
if they
did that.
got off the bus
Yeah.
and there was no one to receive them, and they're sitting outside till 5 o'clock.
To be clear, I never did
What about fourth grade? Because you've been a principal at both schools and an elementary principal. Is fourth grade pushing it, or is that?
I would say it depends on how far they have to go from the bus stop to their house. Because
Yeah.
it's not a door-to-door service,
Mm-hmm.
so that's,
And it depends on the kid.
right.
Every fourth grader is developmentally at a different stage.
Mhm.
Okay, wait. We are not debating whether a particular kid should be let off, but whether we should change our policy to allow the parents to make that decision.
I'm
Okay,
just,
so-
I'm just answering that question.
Yeah, no,
I
I know,
understand
I
what
know.
you're doing.
I know. I'm just, I think that the concern that I have is that, like, at some point, we have to have a conversation about, risk. Because we could make it so that everybody has to drive around in tanks. And that way, when our vehicles collide, no one ever gets injured. But the government doesn't do that because it's impractical. And so, where to draw the line in terms of risk, you could always make an argument that it's potentially risky. And so I just don't know if we have to answer the question about, like, should this one particular kid do it? The real question is, should the government trust parents to know their kids and their abilities? And I think that we should. I don't know.
I think we should, but I also think we need to put students first.
I know.
And I understand parents' concerns, but for us, making sure that every student gets home and they get home safely to the house that they belong to. There are substitute bus drivers who may not know the routes. They might not have all the information. We are responsible for those kids until they get to their door. We can say it's once they get off the bus, but reality is, if they're not home, we are still, maybe not legally, but we are still responsible.
We're gonna feel that.
Yeah.
So if we were to table this, is there a way we could send out a survey just to even see with how, is it worth changing the policy? Like how many parents would actually want this?
And I believe the original letter writer that set this off, their child will be in fifth grade next year, so.
I feel like this is a conversation I have with my wife about things I let the boys do all the time. They could blow up the house. I'm like, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I'm not the right person to
That
make
baby's
this
doing,
decision.
that baby's doing a lot of lifting.
We could definitely get.
I'm not saying I agree or disagree. I think parents should be able to make their own decisions, but like my daughter would never be walking home in third grade. She's also the size of a 2-year-old, so that's just not gonna happen. But I hear Carla's concerns as well. And feeling, as a teacher, I've had many students that did not make it home, and that's terrifying the next day. So like, I want parents to have their say in their vote, but I think we do have to look at some of the other stuff. Maybe not base our decision on that, but I think it's important to hear those kinds of opinions, which is why I think maybe asking, I know I'm the one that brought up the time crunch because of the transportation forms and the payment on June 1st, and that may inform people's decision on if they're going to pay for the bus or not, but it might be worth just kind of surveying the community and seeing if there is a large group of parents looking for this or not, because then wouldn't that kind of make our decision a little bit easier if it's,
I mean,
it would stink for those 2 or 3 people that really want it, but if it's just 2 or 3 people, are we willing to change an entire policy?
If you were asking my opinion on this, and again, I sit here just an advisory committee to this board, report, though this is a procedure, not a policy.
Right,
I
that is
would
true.
err on the side of Mrs. Squire with this one. I too have had students that have not returned home, and actually older students that were found walking up I-93. And I will never forget that feeling. Yeah. And that is something that I just don't ever want to feel again.
I also feel like it was the year before I joined, but like we already went through this and argued about
Well,
it.
I think it's worth revisiting if
It
people have
is, yes.
concerns and questions.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the problem here. I mean, I think we should always revisit policies. They shouldn't be stagnant for 7 years. But it's worth a conversation. I'm not saying like just wipe it away, it doesn't matter, but
I'm getting super guilt vibes.
sorry.
No, what I'm
Sorry.
saying is that
It's
the
true.
fifth grade waiver was the compromise
Yeah.
already,
If it
and
was
I feel
six.
like the fifth grade waiver is a good compromise because I think before that it was sixth grade and up, because that was a whole bus wave and it was easier to manage with the bus drivers, and the fifth grade became the compromise for the parents who wanted kids to get off the bus. And I'm still okay with leaving it at fifth grade, but we can continue talking about it and seeing feedback, or we can.
Yeah, I think seeking feedback from the community is important, and hearing this. And again, this is something that is actually more under my purview. And so I think the more that the school committee advises me on this, and we can hear more feedback from the community to see actually how large of a request it is, I think that will be an important piece. But I want us to caution us against listening to the vocal minority and not necessarily the silent majority.
Yeah, so this is a procedure, this falls under your jurisdiction, not ours. It came to the school committee those years ago because there was outrage about it.
Yeah. So we wouldn't vote on it anyways.
No, it's a procedure, it's not a policy. So that's kind of up to Dr. Fortuna and the people we pay to make sure we're doing things in the best interest of kids, so. Yeah, I think we can let this one sit for a little bit. There's nothing we can vote on because it's not ours.
And I'll report back out to the school committee. I will gather more information and report back out.
Every one of the things that was said is something that my mother said because she picks up Ethan off the bus, and this was the first year he got off the bus. And the conversation ended with, "There are bears in our neighborhood."
It's true.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I know what I'm being.
Yeah, actually,
My mother tells me that there's bears in the neighborhood.
we were
It's
late
over.
to school one day because there was a bobcat between us and the car. And all three of my children and my husband started making kissy noises and heading towards the bobcat.
This
That
is-
was their instinct.
This is
at
too
a
much
bobcat.
maternal guilt directed
So,
at me. I give
okay.
up.
Where were we? Rise policies,
Third read policies.
That's good.
okay, revisit fifth grade consent procedure, third read of policies, oh, God, okay. So this is our third read of the policies,
This is the one we can't wait.
so we have to read it, although I still think we should read the first one so people can get mad about it before we vote on it. Makes more sense, but this is real fun. So it is the handling of cash receipts, student data privacy and security, administration of medications, and advertising in the schools. So you want to start
Sure.
with 3303?
Yep. Fiscal management and non-instructional operations, 3,000. Accounts, 3,300. Procedures for safe and responsible holding and handling of cash receipts, 3,303. Whenever possible, receipts collected from school-associated programs should be in check or electronic deposit form. All payments from school-associated accounts must be made according to established policies. Cash shall not be accepted for transactions of more than $50. When it is necessary to handle cash receipts, they shall be counted and turned over to the appropriate supervisor or building principal on the same day as collected for subsequent deposit with the treasurer on the day received. Cash receipts or petty cash accumulation, which needs to be temporarily held in the school building, shall be placed in a locked area accessible only to the supervisor or principal. Cash should be kept in a safe place, or should be placed in a safe. Receipts collected at events held after school hours should be counted, recorded, and deposited on the next working day. And this was updated on, this is September 23rd, 2009, but we did it. Since then, we added the cash shall not be accepted on transactions below $50.
Yeah, which was a
Compromise.
a nice compromise because we got a lot of feedback about, especially from teachers, about the need for smaller amounts of cash. So 50 was the compromise of no, don't bring in hundreds of dollars, but you can still learn to count pennies in first kindergarten. You can still do the coin counting because the other iteration of the policy banned all cash, and they need to learn how to count coins. Okay, so do we want to vote on these? Can I get a motion to, we're going to vote on it tonight and it will become policy? So can I get a motion? Oh yeah, has there been feedback?
I actually have received more piece of feedback.
Okay.
Where they'd like to see that $50 raised to $100 because of things like prom tickets.
How much are prom tickets?
I don't know, I've just given the feedback that they'd like to see it raised because of things like prom
They were
tickets.
75 this year, and we accepted cash for them.
Oh my gosh. Well, if some, Kara, this is why it's excellent to have the student rep here. Kara, do people usually buy a prom ticket one at a time or two at a time? Do people usually buy it for their
A lot
date?
of the time, people buy them together, but then it gets like messy because sometimes it's one check, sometimes it's just a bunch of cash, and in theory, you could consider it 2 transactions. Like, it kind of depends. Because like if one person comes up and pays, but they're buying 2 tickets, technically you could always split something into more transactions.
I'm actually still comfortable with it being
That's
$50
fine.
because then we would, if we're gonna do that,
Is it $50, $75 a piece?
Yeah, it's $75 a ticket, and it always depends on the venue too. Like, it was that for the last 2 years, but then the year before it was like a little bit cheaper. I want to say like $70. There's a chance it could go up in the future, given just economy. The majority of people pay in cash. Like, some people get checks, but like most teenagers don't have checkbooks, so unless your parents are paying for your prom ticket, you probably have cash.
All that did was make me feel squeamish about the bookkeeping for a prom.
yes. Yeah, I actually got kind of nervous about that.
Because
but-
we log every sale.
Oh, yeah.
So like every time we take a ticket, we write down the person's name. And so then if 75 times the amount of people isn't what's being deposited, then we know that something went wrong. But to my knowledge, that has not happened.
We could get back to policy and make an exception just for prom. No. I don't know. Or it's just kids are gonna have to bring in checks from their parents.
A lot of parents don't want to pay.
I don't know where my checkbook is half the time anymore.
Yeah, I asked my dad for a check for a field trip for $11, and he had to hunt for like an hour to find a checkbook for $11.
But you can still do electronic transactions, right?
Not for prom, at least.
Why not?
So every time
Well, 'cause
that
that
we
goes
have
to
a
our
payment,
class.
every time that we have a payment in RevTrak, Liz has to create a payment portal for it. So that's part of the reason I was so, we need to keep cash for the small stuff, because it would just be Liz making portal payments for every tiny transaction.
And it's helpful too when you're planning prom to have some cash for like deposits that might be due before
Yeah, but
the
that-
school will.
That amount of cash is part of the reason we were uncomfortable, because that amount of cash can become problematic. Not that I think it will.
We keep it in a locked box in the front office, so.
I'm
hopefully-
pretty not concerned about you guys. I'm concerned about just some random person.
Yeah, it's not you guys, but it's just, it's there, and it's a potential for problems.
Who
We
does?
could do a rev track for prom.
We could.
Somebody just sent me that RevTrak also charges the service fee. So, how much is the service fee?
$3, no, I'm sorry, it went up to $4.
It went up to $4
Per transaction.
per
Per
transaction.
transaction. So you could do multiple things in one transaction. So if you were paying
Oh.
for lunch and
Okay.
prom and you could athletics, you could do it all in one transaction, so you're only getting the one fee.
$4.
Which then means that we're upping prom tickets to now $80, making it
Yeah.
less. I feel like we should be allowed to pay cash.
So here's the reason why the cash policy became an issue. If you look at the ways in which schools lose money due to theft, it is almost always small transactions for cash. It is never, or almost never, like some accounting evil genius stealing many millions of dollars. It's always like, you know, $40 here, $70 here, $400 here, you know, and having cash just creates like a honeypot for those kinds of problems. And so the reason why I had hoped that we would get away from cash entirely was so that there would be no temptation. But that was not something that there was a political will for, and so we thought the $50 was a reasonable compromise. My concern is if we go back and make it $75 or $100, there's going to be some other transaction that people are going to have the same argument about, and it's just a never-ending procession of changing the dollar, and we never have a policy. So I would rather pass the policy and see how it works, and then if it doesn't work, we change it.
That's true. We can just give it a year, see
Yeah.
how it works with prom.
Do you want to write the checks for my prom ticket next year, Mr. Scully?
No,
Isn't there-
I didn't want to write the checks for my own prom. I hated going.
I like the
So,
hustle though.
No.
You gotta ask.
Emily, what do you think? You got, I'm good with it. You're good with it the way it's written? I think I am too, because I think we can try it for a year and see how it goes, and then we can reassess.
Policy can always be revisited.
Yeah, we're not ready.
Policy should be
so-
revisited.
This isn't the Constitution.
It should be.
Yeah. Even the Constitution has amendments, so. All right, I don't know, Dari. are we
I'll make a
voting?
motion to
Okay.
accept the policy on handling of cash receipts as written.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Discussion. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and that one passes. All right, let's get to 5503. I can do this one, which is the student data privacy and security policy. I assume the part at the top that says this is a working draft document will be removed.
Yes.
Okay. Students in instruction, 5,000. Internet access network, 5,500. Student data privacy and security, 5503. Lunenburg School Public Schools, student data privacy and security policy. At Lunenburg Public Schools, LPS, safeguarding student privacy is a fundamental responsibility. We thoughtfully collect and utilize student data to enhance academic programming, ensure student safety, and streamline district operations, such as food services and transportation. LPS is committed to adhering to industry best practices and all local, state, and federal privacy laws to ensure a secure educational and digital environment for every student. Protecting student data is an active, ongoing commitment. The district continuously reviews and tightens the protocols used to evaluate the digital tools, software, and resources deployed in our classrooms. This includes thoroughly vetting vendor terms of service, strict data policy agreements, and requiring explicit permission before utilizing non-district resources that may require the exchange of personal student information. Categories of data collected by LPS. To support our educational mission, the district collects specific types of information, including but not limited to enrollment and demographic data, such as biographical and household information, demographics, health, medical, and allergy information, financial records, e.g. documentation for the Meals Benefits Program, academic and student life records, such as state and district student ID numbers, daily attendance and disciplinary records, class schedules and academic grades, individualized education programs, IEP, and 504 plans, transportation and bus routing records, digital footprint and technology records, like district-issued usernames, passwords, and email communications, network traffic and internet browsing history on the district network and district-owned devices, educational software and application usage statistics, how LPS utilizes student data. We leverage this information strictly for educational and operational enhancement, such as to deliver high-quality academics, personalized learning experiences, and specialized programming, facilitate vital communication with parents and guardians regarding their child's progress in school events, manage and improve essential district services, including transportation, school nutrition, and athletics, determine eligibility for various local, state, and federal programs and accommodations. Note, the examples provided above are intended to illustrate general data use and do not constitute an exhaustive list. For specific inquiries, please contact your school's administration. Data access and third-party sharing. Internal access. Student data is strictly provisioned on a need-to-know basis. Access is limited to school administrators, teachers, and contracted support staff who have a legitimate educational interest in the student. This includes personnel serving in academic, administrative, diagnostic, therapeutic, or guidance capacities. External vendors. LPS occasionally partners with select third-party educational vendors. Data is only shared with these partners for the explicit purposes of supporting district curriculum, instruction, and daily operations. All third-party vendors are bound by strict data sharing agreements that prohibit the unauthorized use or monetization of student information. LPS strictly prohibits the sale of student data. Legal framework and references. Data access is additionally governed by and granted in accordance with the following regulations and district policies: the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, also known as FERPA, Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, COPPA, Massachusetts Student Records Law, 603 CMR 23.00, Lunenburg Public Schools Student Handbooks, and the Lunenburg Public Schools Student Record Keeping Policy. Student data and AI. The district shall use AI in a manner consistent with the law and the needs of the district. However, student data covered by FERPA, COPPA, or this policy shall not be used, inputted, or otherwise shared with open AI systems. Such information may be used, inputted, or otherwise shared with closed AI systems. The district shall verify that all AI used with student data covered by this policy is a closed AI system. Any discussion?
So I just want to put out there that when we were talking about this policy, the closed versus open AI system has to do with how the large language models are trained. So for example, if you go to ChatGPT, which I just did, and you put in something into Google like, do Mormons believe in evolution? It will come up with an answer based on all of the search queries that have been put into Google. It's open, so that they train on all of the data. There are ways to pay for or use AI systems that have a data set that's given to it that you can add to, but never gets shared with anybody else. And so a closed AI data system would be the ones that we'd use for protected records, and then the open, like the ChatGPT or Gemini, would be used for the others. So that's why we made that distinction, and I think that it comports with the law, though I will tell you that I don't think anybody has actually sat down and passed the federal statute.
I really wanted I had concerns about AI teachers feeding, or anyone feeding large sets of data about students into like ChatGPT, which is, so, yeah, so that's why that is in there, and that is why that is added. Emily, you got a comment? Anything else?
Nope.
Okay, oh, did we have any motion to accept the 5503 student data privacy and security policy.
And we'll make a motion to accept 5503 student data privacy and security policy.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, that one passes unanimous. All right, and we're gonna go to 5701.01, administration of medications. It is your turn.
Medication administration policy. Medication may not be administered to students while at school unless such medicine is given to them by the school nurse, acting under specific written request of the parent or guardian and under the written directive of the student's personal physician. See below for exceptions. If a student has been approved for self-administration, a student who needs medication during the school day may be reminded to take the medicine by the school nurse or other individual designated by the school nurse in the student's medical administration plan. This provision only applies when the school nurse has a medical administration plan in place for the student. No one but the school nurse and those others listed in the medical administration plan acting within the above restriction may give any medication to any student. Exceptions: epinephrine auto-injectors. Lunenburg Public Schools shall, through the district nurse leader, register with the Department of Public Health and train personnel in the use of epinephrine auto-injectors. Nasal naloxone Narcan administration. Lunenburg Public Schools may, in conjunction with the school physician and the school nurse leader, stock nasal naloxone Narcan. Trained medical personnel and first responders may administer nasal naloxone to individuals experiencing a life-threatening opiate overdose in a school setting. Non-medical staff training for naloxone. If Lunenburg Public Schools wishes medical personnel to train non-medical staff in the administration of nasal naloxone, the Lunenburg School Committee shall vote to approve such training, and the superintendent shall ensure that medical personnel have a written protocol which complies with the medical directives and regulations from the Department of Public Health. Student self-administration. Following consultation with the school nurse, students who fall into the following exceptions may self-administer medications. Students with asthma or other respiratory diseases may possess and administer prescription inhalers. Students with cystic fibrosis may possess and administer prescription enzyme supplements. Students with diabetes may possess and administer glucose monitoring tests and insulin delivery systems. Students with life-threatening allergies may possess and administer epinephrine. Source: adapted from the Massachusetts Association of School Committees, reviewed in 2021. Legal reference MGL 7154B. DPH regulations 105 CMR 210 244 CMR 3.
I have a question. The nasal naloxone training, have we voted on that to allow that?
You, not that I am aware of.
Okay, can we put that on the, can we
Well, what do
vote
we
to
have?
approve the training? Whether or not you actually go ahead and do it?
I would need a procedure for it
Okay.
first.
Okay, then can we put that on the to-do list?
Mhm.
So that we've
Maybe
already
next
given
year.
our approval?
Yeah.
And then should we decide to do it, or
Yeah.
it would be all set?
Yeah.
Okay, also, I think it's ridiculous that kids can't apply their own sunscreen.
Yeah.
As you can see from the sunburn I got on Saturday,
Yes.
sitting outside for like 6 hours, we really hate that.
Yes.
Why can't they apply their own
The
sunscreen?
state of Massachusetts considers it a medication.
Oh
Even though everyone should be wearing it.
Yeah, so you have to put it on before they go to school, but like you're also supposed to reapply it, so like.
It's considered an over-the-counter medication, so we cannot administer it at school without a doctor's order.
See, that's.
Yep.
How's
As
it
someone
different
who
than
is
hand soap?
allergic to it, maybe that's not a terrible thing. You can't lather a kid up with peanut butter either.
You could, it just be real weird. Okay, so is there any discussion on this one? Okay, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the medication policy.
Second. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Passes unanimous. Okay, 1303.1, advertising in the school. schools. This is an update.
All right, I got this one. The superintendent or their designee is empowered to solicit advertisements for property, real or otherwise, of the school. This includes athletic fields, gymnasiums, digital property of the school, and any other means of monetizing school property to generate ad revenue for the school. Ads shall not be placed in classrooms, the library, administrative offices, or any other area primarily used for instruction except for gymnasiums. The superintendent or their designee shall set reasonable rates for such advertisement as they see fit. The following shall be barred from advertising on school property. 1, any entity for profit or otherwise barred from advertising by state or federal law or regulation or school policy. And 2, any entity for profit or otherwise that generates income, however derived, from the monetization of or sale of alcohol, tobacco, cannabis, gambling services, sports, fantasy sports services, pornography, or firearms. The superintendent or their designee shall have final approval over the appearance and placement of all advertisements. Their decision about the advertisements, their appearance, and their placement are final and made with their sole discretion. The distribution of notices or advertisements by non-district affiliated groups are prohibited. Notices are permitted at designated locations in the school office if such organizations are consistent with school committee policy and with the prior approval of the superintendent or their designee. Surveys, questionnaires, or similar documents which solicit and collect the personal information of students or families for marketing purposes are prohibited. The guide star for this policy is to generate as much ad revenue as possible and leave to district employees the procedures needed to implement this policy. So the only change that was made was that last sentence, and we made that so that there was a better idea of what we wanted to do. The policy talked about what ads could be placed, but not what we were trying to accomplish with the policy, and now we have that. So I think that will help. And again, I want to thank Amy King for vetting this with me on a couple of different things.
Any other discussion? Any input? Okay, all in favor? Oh wait, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the revised advertising in schools policy.
Okay, all in favor? Aye, so that one passes unanimously. You saved superintendent evaluation for the very,
Yeah, do that quick.
okay.
Happy to do it if you want me to.
Yeah, so do you mind handling that one? Because
Sure.
you are the one who, very kindly combined it all. Did you look at mine? Because it,
I did. I even included quotes for it.
oh, good, okay. Is that in here? No. Is it?
It was
our
sent separately.
Email,
Yeah,
yeah.
I sent it separately because
We couldn't talk about it.
in order to make it work, we had to. Okay. So the evaluations use a DESI form, which I will give you the narrative later. The form is terrible. It is just linguistic torture of the worst kind.
Did you leave it on part?
I did, I left that part in. In fact, I said that we are writing this narrative because the committee, as such, the committee, as is tradition, prepared a narrative to accompany the acrid-smelling dumpster fire quality forms we are mandated to use by our clueless and wasteful state bureaucracy.
My literal comment to him was,
Yep.
Tony, 70% less snark.
It's
I said
the
same
worst.
thing.
They're the worst. I can read the whole
Tony.
paragraph. It's really snarky.
That may be the best sentence in any evaluation.
I did write how it said, fortunately for the children of Lunenburg, Dr. Jody Fortuna does not suffer the same infirmities that Desi does. Her first year in Lunenburg was a celebration of clear communication and transparency, even in the face of multiple real crises. And ultimately, I said, the DESI system, which you had expressed some misgivings about in terms of the grade system, they use a grade system, so the public is aware, all of the teachers and administrators know this. The grade system involves like 4 categories, one of which you're not supposed to really use all the time, and it makes no sense. You can't have a scoring system or evaluation score that is not something that people understand. So for example, if you look up the DESI word, proficient means that you're good. But if you look up the word proficient in the dictionary, it simply means that you are above average. And somebody who is a 50.1%, percentile baseball player is not good. They're not gonna make the majors. And so what I did instead was gave you the letter grade, because everybody understands the letter grade. I think, in my opinion, and I sent this out so everybody could edit it and give feedback, I think we all kind of agreed to do really good and give you an A-. The summary of the evaluations. I'm just going to read this because this is really the thing that matters the most. Before compiling this narrative, the chair spoke with each member of the committee individually about how to complete the evaluation form and offered to sit down with each of them and go through the forms. The chair also read each of the forms from each member. The committee as a whole appreciated the fact that Dr. Fortuna brought a new approach to the position. The committee members noted that problems were dumped into her lap and that solutions were limited by budget, but she managed to find out-of-the-box solutions. Committee members were also universally appreciative of her leadership in the budget process. There was also widespread acclaim for her ability to listen to all sides and engage with people even in disagreement. The committee universally appreciated her commitment to Ohana or One Lunenburg and how she made the schools a more welcoming place for all learners. The majority of the members also noted a dissonance between state budget priorities and at least one budget that was delivered. We'll talk about that in a second. Some committee members praised her for her role in hiring and mentoring key administrative staff. Committee members also selected her communication style as one that produced good results, noting that she had clear, consistent messaging on issues. There was a timely execution of many items, and she worked towards her goals effectively. One committee member highlighted her effective use of humor in communicating with people and taking the weekly emails from a boring template to a genuinely insightful document. Other committee members hoped to see her capitalize on her capable advocacy in town with expanded advocacy at the state level, although there was exactly the opposite sentiment from other people. That we want to just keep you here. There is hope that there will be more cooperation with town regarding cost savings matter. That was a comment that was made by some people. I think it's safe to say that the areas of strength did a really good job of communicating with parents. I think that the transparency with the town is the only way we made it through the budget surplus. Like I will tell you that when you told us in September, I sat down with Mr. Rogers and I was like, I think we're doomed. He's like, no, kid, you're not doomed. You can do it. So he was really gracious and helpful, but he told us you gotta be radically honest every time. And I think you were. I think that's why we were able to make it. I think that it's really important to emphasize how big of a change in culture. Not just the tone that you set, the transparency that you brought to the table, but I think that fundamentally our district works better because you are a superior mentor. Like Chris has become not just an invaluable part of the team, but somebody who literally every volunteer in town government knows will get the right answer, and usually off the top of his head. It was an impressive display of skill, and I think it was in part because Chris is really good at his job, but also because you gave him the chance to do his job. I think that the same thing is true with Dr. Sarfty. I know she brought to the table a lot of experience and talent, but we managed to poach somebody away from a situation that was not good and really bring great talent to bear on the kids in Lunenburg. And then, I think that it goes without saying that the relationship that you've had with Juliana and how you allowed her to take leads on things, especially when you were getting your knee fixed, no one had any doubts and no one had any concerns about missing gaps. You were a great mentor and you delegated well. Places where I think we had some issues, and I want to make sure that these aren't things that you think of as like, DESE language has this euphemism that are like, areas to focus on or areas of improvement. And it's really just like, these are weaknesses. But in this case, I don't think that's true. And I think it's not true because to a large degree, you came in midstream. And so there would be no way for you to prevent things that happened before you came in. So the one thing that more than one person mentioned was concern about the balanced budget that was presented on March 18th. To be brief, we had been told since November that there was a need for an assistant for Chris, that there were a need for paras in kindergarten, that there was an additional ELL instructors were needed, and then we had assistance for learners struggling with reading in the 3rd grade. And the balanced budget as presented did not include any of those things. The other thing that was a problem is the balanced budget also did not include addressing the athletic transportation, which the school committee had focused on as an issue to be dealt with. Again, I don't think that it's clear from how that went that these were things that have been building up for a while, and you just kind of, as one of the commenters said, were dumped in your lap. And the balanced budget is largely a reflection of what happened afterwards.
Can I add to that?
Sure.
Is that your ability to pivot and take the feedback and readjust is very appreciated. Because I know it's hard to say, here's what I'd like to do, and to have three people who are not teachers, and Emily, want to make adjustments. And I think that the grace with which we managed to work together and come to, I don't want to say acceptable, I'm not sure what the word, because it's not an acceptable budget, but it is the reality of the budget. I appreciated your ability to pivot and come back and say, okay, let's try it this way, and for the things that you'd like to stay the same, here's why. So that was very appreciated.
Like the biggest thing that was listed was something that had no impact on school. We fixed it immediately. So I do think that there are other issues that are in the memo, and I'll leave. But again, there are sort of continuations of the other thing that we talked about, like pre-existing issues. The one thing that I think is interesting, and I don't know how you want to move forward, and I think that you and the new chair can figure this out. I do think that if you wanted to go to the legislature and make comments, you have a demeanor that will convince people. Like I often, before I have to do advocacy in my day job, I often watch a speech given by Fred Rogers to the U.S. Senate. And very few people can do what he did. And I think you are one of them. And so if you wanted to, I think you could go be an effective advocate at the State House. But I also understand that there's only so much time in the day, and the impact of that kind of advocacy, especially on the days where it's organized, is minimal. I mean, we sat there for 8 hours, 3 of us went and 2 of us don't. No, 4 of us went and 2 of us don't.
Sorry.
That's all right. So if you wanted to do that, I think you could do that. You have the, yeah. Oh, that's right.
Caesar.
So 3 of us. You have that vibe, and it might be the thing that makes the difference. But I also wouldn't want to do that in a way that would take you away from these responsibilities. So it's a choice.
And you are, as I said, the expanding advocacy, you are in contact with our legislators. You are,
For sure.
You're not going, and you didn't go and testify this year, neither did I. But you are in constant contact. Like Margaret Scarsdale has been a very good partner in checking in about and keeping up to date with the needs of the schools and what our asks are. And I do appreciate that, because it is very helpful.
I want to read this last part again. Dr. Fortuna is a great asset for the schools. Our children are better off with her at the helm. While the future looks bumpy, she serves with the full confidence of the school committee and is excellent at her job, communicating with others and I know this is important to you, making everyone feel welcome. If anybody wants to share their own specific comments, I think we've done that in the past too.
I just want to again say the different feeling this year, even as a bystander watching the year before, but now sitting up here, I have to say when I thought about running for the school committee, or nobody ran against me, so being on the school committee,
Being strong-armed into it.
yeah, I was hesitant. I wasn't sure what I was getting myself into really. I've just kind of watched on Zoom for 3 years to see what was happening. But the feel just up here is so much different than the feel I watched over the past few years previously. I just think just the whole surplus and your honesty and just your straightforwardness about when that happened, and that didn't happen a lot before, when there were mistakes made or oversights or confusing issues. The school committee, prior to this school committee, asked a lot of questions and asked for a lot of information that was not received. I feel like you've given us just about everything we've asked for when we needed it. And I just think that makes a really big difference.
Yeah, the transparency is fantastic. I also wanted to, so this was your first year, which is not easy. I think sometimes superintendents take a little time to figure out the culture of the district, and you stopped and assessed and watched, but you also dipped your toes in very quickly. I think you actually started your first budget task force meeting was before you were an employee here. And you came right in, but you didn't make waves, and I can't remember the metaphor I used, but you were less like a boat cutting across a channel and more of a Ohana metaphor. You were more like a surfer using the existing culture within the district to lift everyone up. And I think that made a big difference. I think that comes down a lot to personality and leadership style. But there weren't as many issues as I was expecting with, a new leader coming in. So that was fantastic. And like Emily said, the transparency has been amazing. And I think that went a very long way to engendering trust, not just with us and the staff in the district, but as far as townwide as we could go. And I won't win everybody over. And that's okay. But I very much appreciate it. And when I was writing the evaluation, I was reflecting on the fact that it's only been a year. This, like,
Seems longer, doesn't it?
probably a lot longer. So yeah, this was your first year, your entry in, and the other thing is I very much appreciate your ability to elevate the everyday things into something special. Like when you highlight teachers and their lesson plans and things that maybe just seem like another day at school, and you can see the magic in that, and you can highlight that, and I also appreciate that. So I like that perspective. You wrote your stuff. I said 70% less hard. You took out none of the stuff.
I took out none of that. There was
Yeah.
people in Desi.
Okay. So do we vote on the composite? I believe.
I don't think it's an action.
It's under old business. It's under action. It is, yeah. I think we vote on it as a composite.
Yes.
So can I get a motion to accept the, can I get a motion to accept the Tony's composite evaluation for Dr. Fortuna? Okay, can I get a second? Okay, any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, motion passes. And then this got weird, so, reports? Wait, I lost.
Public comment for issues
Yeah.
discussed tonight.
Okay, yep, topics for, yep, public comment. Yeah, my, it printed weird, so let's do public comment for stuff discussed tonight. Stuff for topics discussed tonight. Is there any public comment in the room?
I just want to thank Mandy for really being the spearhead of the political side of what we do, not just with the legislature, but also here in town. She puts herself out there. She is the one that organizes things. She's the lady with the checklist and the clipboard. She's always willing to pitch in, and she's like laser focused on none of the political things or legal things, but what's best for kids. And I think that as the DESI form for evaluating the superintendent proves, oftentimes we lose the forest for the trees. And Carol told me the first day we were here that we speak for the trees, and Mandy really does speak for the trees. There is no one that is a more tireless or committed advocate for kids in the town of Lunenburg. And I can tell you that she was really exhausted today, and she has just been running on fumes for a week or two now. That she was helping her mother with the car show, and even despite all of that, she still came so that we would have more. And I want to recognize the personal sacrifice that she's made so that we can advocate for kids. And I also want to recognize the fact that she's committed to being a good team player and doing things like showing up just so we have a quorum, even though she's dead tired.
Yeah, Mandy came tonight so we could have quorum so I could go to Miller's concert, and I am so appreciative of that because it is, sometimes it's hard doing the mom thing and the school committee thing when they're both at the same time, so that was very kind of Mandy. I really appreciate it. And yeah, also Mandy does the legislative stuff and none of us like it.
And she got some money.
It is excellent to have someone who's so good at that on the team, because I'm not good at that. So that is appreciated. Okay, do we have public comment on Zoom?
We do, we have one, Matt Nazarenko.
Oh, okay. Hi, Matt.
Hi, Matt Nazarenko, 79 Robsville Road. I have two, they're more questions than comments. My understanding of the middle school sports budget is it's just shy of $15,000 for the entire last year's budget that's getting cut. What would the legal options be for raising that money and restoring that? I know there's a comment made earlier about the golf team, and if that money was directed towards golf specifically, it was not legal. So I'm curious what the legal options are for raising that money. And then follow-up question is, if a sport is not offered, what are the student athletes' options to pursue that sport if it's not offered at the school for both a 8th grader and a 6th grader would be my specific case, but applies to others. They play golf, lacrosse, or ski, or are in 6th grade and can't get a MAIA waiver because you can't get one for a 6th grader.
Do you want to respond or because I wanted to put that on the future.
Yeah, I can partially respond. So one of the options for your 6th grader, though dependent on the sport, is that Lunenburg is very rich with town club sports, including lacrosse, soccer, football, basketball, and I'm sure I'm missing baseball. I'm sure I'm missing some as well, that we offer the club sports for at the middle school level. If it's a varsity sport that we don't offer, unfortunately there isn't much of an option for the student to continue that unless they continue it with a private club that is functioning that way. I'm not sure about, I don't want to give you wrong information about the legal requirements, so I'm going to defer answering that question this evening until I know for sure what the legal requirements around fundraising are, especially as it relates to Title IX.
Okay, clarity on that would be appreciated in the future. So a 8th grader who skis, even if it's a co-op, would not be able to ski next year. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Nowhere. They can't go to Leominster, they can't go to Fitchburg.
Other schools most likely would not accept them. That's not something that's commonly done among schools without a formal co-op arrangement.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Is there anyone else on Zoom? You can make a comment.
I would just like to, this is kind of going back to the superintendent evaluation, I would just like to thank you. You were thrown into a mess, and I've been up here for the last 3 years doing this, and this is the first year where I felt like my opinion actually like mattered. Like I know I'm not voted up here, but it always seemed like it was just like, all right, we have to let her talk and then bye. So I just wanted to thank you.
Thank you, Dad. That means a lot.
You did get voted up there, though.
Well, but by my peers, not by the town.
We have Chris Sullivan on.
Hi, Chris.
Chris.
Hello.
Hey.
I'm Chris Sullivan, one way down the street. Regarding Dr. Fortuna, I just a comment to say thank you for being how present you've been throughout this academic year, coming into a new school, and I personally have found you to be very present at, sporting events and activities, and the like. It's certainly noticed by, I think, by many, whether it was, miles for miles right away on the ball, or, going to a soccer game on your way home, in Hudson, or, whatever it may be. I think it's been noticed, and I think it's appreciated by many. So thank you for that, and being engaged with parents and so forth. Have us your office to talk about, fee pricing and user fee issues and things like that as well. Like I just appreciate your accessibility and engagement with the parents as well. Since Matt asked the question about the co-op program, the ski team is a co-op program existing. I don't know what happens to that. If it's removed from Lunenburg, but there are some, ski team parents, one of them having a discussion, starting that discussion to see what we can do from a co-op standpoint, maybe with another school, with schools that are in the co-op already, and I guess we can figure that out and talk more, obviously, to see what goes on there. From that end. On the golf team, I actually missed part of the meeting, so I go back and listen to what was said about the golf team, and I'll figure that out and talk about that, because there's some parents that want to talk about that as well. But,
Thanks, Chris. I'm sorry we're impacting your family so much.
Yeah, it was fine. I mean, it is what it is, and we knew it was coming. But I just want to try and see whatever we do to find ways to maybe counter some of that. I don't think we're talking about significant. Maybe looking at what, the price that was cut, I feel is, not significant. And I think as parents, if there is a way to do that, we'll probably find a way. But we can, happy to talk more. But from that standpoint with the ski team, it is an existing co-op program, or it has been an existing co-op program with 4 schools already involved: Littleton, Leominster, Lunenburg, and Narragansett.
Okay.
That's all.
Thank you, Chris.
Question we had the future of the schools committee.
Is there anyone
No
else?
one else.
Okay. Top reports. I don't think I have anything. Things are slowed down before the town meeting. Topics for future discussion. I think we should. The sports thing. And I'm not sure which we have to. Yeah, I'm not sure which else we do. That's good. Yeah, and the bus thing once we get some feedback.
Yep.
We don't want to talk about that anymore.
I don't think we should talk about it in 2 weeks. I think it's.
No,
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. You got anything?
The sports thing, but
Yeah, okay.
I know, it's cracking me up too. Trying not to laugh.
It's like a Benny Hill
Oh,
sketch.
gosh. That is making my night. Oh, I lost it. Yes, the sports thing might take more than 2 weeks to get back on, because we need to check on check on that. And for what it's worth, I think eventually, maybe not this year, but other schools are going to get to the point of also cutting sports, and I think we're going to have to develop new cooperative ways to make that happen. Although co-op's already pretty cooperative. And adjournment. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn, Madam Chair.
Second. All right, it is 9:36. All in favor?